Yeah. What's good, you guys? You are locked in on another Philadelphia Eagles preview pregame show for your Philadelphia Eagles, man. Listen, featuring Coach Marcus from Pro Fan Talk, yours truly, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Normally, we get these things out of the way the day of the game, right, Marcus? Normally, we try to get these things done the day of, so it's kind of fresh and hot off the presses for you guys. But it's going to be a pretty busy weekend for me, especially. And I wanted to make sure we tapped in with you guys, and I didn't want to miss a show with Marcus this week. So I tapped his shoulder and I said, "Listen, brother, you think you can work with me on Thursday? I know we normally do this on game days, but how's your Thursday?
Get in where you fit in, bro.
How's your Thursday looking in? Look, here we are. Lo and behold, Coach Marcus is in the building. So, man, first and foremost, Marcus, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. It was a very busy NFL news cycle with Robert Saleh and everything that happened with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a lot of stuff going on, man. I saw the press conferences. We were just talking about this off camera with the whole thing. Jalen saying that they had a very efficient work week. I agree with. I don't know if everybody saw what Seth Joyner said, and I agree 100%. After a game like that, now's not the time to take off. Now's not the time to have a week off. You got to be about business. You ain't got to come in and slam them every day. But we are not at a point, at least from where I see it, where I am confident of what product we're going to put on the field. And I don't like seeing that, because if we see it, they see it. And they, you hear all the cliche stuff. We got to get better, and we got work to do, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, we done had work to do for the last 5 weeks. So at some point in time, you got to put the fly out to the field, man, and get busy and change some things. And it has to be consistent. That's the problem. One day the offense looks halfway decent. The other time the defense looks halfway decent. But same thing last year. We haven't put both sides of the ball together. And I don't know if there's COVID in the first period of these games that we can't score. I don't know what's going on. It seems like we have to settle into what we are supposed to do, and that shouldn't be. We still asking questions like, wait a minute, what? Saquon only touched the ball 1 time, 2 times in the first period. Like, what's going on? So we're still asking those questions, and I don't like that this far along. Because remember, school's out. We had our first 4 weeks. All the rust is off. So you got what you got. Missing tackles again. We back to this again. So they've got some work to do. We got the perfect setup. Cleveland's not a very good team. New York's not a very good team, and New York's a division game, plus everything that's going to happen with Saquon Barkley. So they got 2 weeks. And I don't even like it from the situation of the possibility exists. I don't even like saying that. But the possibility exists that if we lose to Cleveland, because it's possible, and if we lose to the Giants, I believe them axes are going to be sharp, and those gallows are going to be ready to drop that hammer to Nick Sirianni.
They will drop. I spoke about this yesterday. If they find a way to lose back-to-back weeks to the Browns and the Giants, 2 teams that are lowly, teams that are still trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do. The combined record of the 4 teams they're going to face over the next 4 weeks is 5-15. You got the Browns, you got the Giants, then I think you got the Bengals, then you got the Jags. Those are 4 games that should be winnable for you. Now, granted, the Bengals, they've been putting up points, but they just haven't been able to keep points off the board. So that's going to be a tough game regardless. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and those guys, they're going to give you a run for your money. But other than that, I mean, to be honest with you, if this bye week you go anything less than 3-1, I think there's a chance Nick Sirianni loses his job. But to your earlier point, right? You said something pretty interesting. 4 games in, you pretty much know what you got, right? And we're at that point, at least for me. we're past that point of, oh, hey, it's only week 4. Oh, it's only week 3.
Exactly.
Hey, we can't keep saying, oh, it's only week 8. Oh, it's only week 12. Right?
Exactly.
At some point, we're going to have to accept exactly what we've seen and what they've given us up to this point. We're going to have to accept exactly who we're seeing in the mirror here. But this bye week, I've been saying it couldn't have been placed any better.
Mm-hmm.
This bye week prior to the season was a problem for me. I normally prefer my bye week to be somewhere in that week 9, 10, 11 range. That's kind of where I like to exist at with the bye week, kind of like it was last year and the year before that. It was in that it was towards the middle of the season, of the season. It's earlier now, and based off what we saw from this team, it looked like they needed.
They did.
It looks like they needed to go back to the drawing board. New OC, new DC. Your quarterback is assuming more responsibilities at the line. Your defense is significantly younger. You're younger in key spots. You're younger on the D line. You're younger at corner, right? You're younger at safety to a degree. So a lot of youth, a lot of inexperience, a lot of new pieces, a lot of new people making decisions. So these first 4 games you saw, was it a combination of growing pains and ill decisions? Probably so. But now you got 5 weeks, you had 6 weeks to really just iron things out and look at it for what it is. That's why this bye week is so perfectly placed, because this team needed to actually unplug and say, you know what? Okay, what have we done lately? Because you played this game and you know a season can get out of hand rather quickly.
Very quickly.
A season can get out of whack rather quickly. And I have no idea when the bye week is for the Cleveland Browns. I have no idea when it is. But they need a break now. Because this season is spiraling out of control, and the Philadelphia Eagles can catch the Browns lacking on a whole new level. They're finishing up a 3-game road trip right now, where their final stop until they go back home for 2 straight games. You're catching them at a point where they're probably mentally exhausted from the travel, mentally exhausted from losing, mentally exhausted from Deshaun Watson's inconsistency at the quarterback position,
right?
Mentally exhausted from the injuries that they're dealing with. They are a mass unit right now, top to bottom, on defense to offensive line. You take your pick. So this is an opportunity for the Philadelphia Eagles to build some momentum, to build some traction, to give us something to believe in for once this season. Right. And I'm not looking for them to just win this game, right? I'm looking for them to actually dominate this game. Will they? That all remains to be seen. We still have so much more to talk about, but a dominant win is what they need on the resume now. They haven't beaten anybody by more than double digits since 2022. Am I tripping when I say that?
I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me, because the whole dominance thing is what we're looking for.
Right. And you got to show some signs. Even the Ravens, who struggled the first few weeks, they showed a couple games where they were dominant, putting up points. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson looked dominant. Derrick Henry looked dominant. We've seen a game where Saquon looked dominant, but we haven't seen that game where Jalen Hurts looks dominant. And we haven't seen it in a while.
The tape is out on us. Tampa Bay did it again. So everybody's going to look at the Tampa Bay game, and they're going to say, this is how you beat the Eagles.
Yeah, I think the Browns are going to combine the game plan from the Buccaneers and the Atlanta game. They're going to run the ball
from every hole that's available, keep the passes short, and I don't even like saying this, but they got us like the damn Giants. All you got to do is stop Saquon. They can't do nothing else. Now, having said that, weapons activated. AJ's back, Devontae's back, LJ's back. So we full tilt with the offense. All the weapons are back and ready to go. So that should change a lot. So now I'm looking at, okay, Kellen, now you get all of the weapons there. We know what Saquon can do when they got to focus on him. They still couldn't stop us. Now you got everybody back. Now it should be open season. We should be opening up a can on everybody we play. So quick slants across the middle. That Super Bowl year, they could not stop AJ's slant across the middle to say they liked. They couldn't stop it. Everybody knew it was coming, and AJ had crazy yak yards. And then we stopped running it. We got to be smart enough to give Saquon the ball, but don't try to jam it up the middle. Zone reads behind Becton and Larry John or Lane Johnson. Zone read all day. Let him be a running back there. Set it up so he can cut back if he needs to, but let him be the running back. Don't force him through one position where they can run blitz you or something like that. Stretch the defense out and let him do what he does best. And that's what if you look at the 65-yard against the Saints, what did he do? It was zone read. He cut it back and then popped back out, got through to the second level. Nobody touched him. That's why you got to that way they don't know where it's going. So we got all of the tools. Use them.
But Marcus, it seems almost too simple, right?
Too simple.
It seems almost too simple to just follow the blueprint, right? It seems too simple to lean into how you're built, man. You have this offensive line, you got this running back. You know, your quarterback is not a high volume thrower. That's not his forte. So why don't you optimize the opportunities for everybody, right? Lean on that running game. Too often we've seen situations where they run pass to start a drive. We need to see more run pass and hopefully run if you're third and short. See, my thing is, too often we've seen Jalen Hurts in situations of second and long, third and long. Everything is a grind. Every point is you're dying for it. You feel what I'm saying? So
right.
They need to do a better job at creating situations where they're allowed to be less predictable than what they've been. Right? When you throw the ball on first down, you open up the possibility of an incompletion, which then leads to what? Second and long. And 9 times out of 10, when you're second and long, what are you going to do, Marcus? You're going to pass the ball.
Yeah.
And then God forbid it's another incompletion, because incompletions happen. Passing the ball is a risky thing to do. It's a risky proposition, right? Now you're 3rd and 10. Or let's say you get sacked. Now you're 3rd and long. Or maybe your guy catches it, but it's for a loss. 3rd and long. You get what I'm saying? At the very least, if you run the ball on first down, knowing you got Saquon Barkley, knowing you got that offensive line, knowing he can either take it for 50 yards or at the very worst, he'll probably get you 3 or 4. You know what I mean? And now
you're a running back, man. Your job is to get 4 yards a pop.
And now you're at 2nd and medium, which is much more manageable than 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 12. And then maybe you might run it again, and maybe he popped that one. So my thing is the running game, getting that back involved early and often, because if you look at the numbers at face value, it'll deceive you. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles are passing the ball and running the ball relatively equally, right? There's only about maybe a 5 or 10 carry or attempt difference between the passing and the running. But
classic Kellen Moore.
But here's the problem, though. When you look at that Buccaneers game, 7 of the first 9 offensive plays were pass plays. So at the end of the game, you say, well, they were balanced. But were they really? Were they balanced when it mattered most?
Look at it
when it mattered most?
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Were they balanced when they were trying to get, start a drive or get somebody involved? There's something off here about how they use Saquon Barkley to me. I think they use Saquon Barkley almost like this fail safe. Like, you know what? Things, we kind of hit the wall with the offense. Hey, Saquon, get us one. And you need to make him a bigger part of the offense than just being some sort of, break glass when in need of assistance. You feel me?
Yeah, but I don't even think they do that, because if that was the case, he would have more checkdowns, and he doesn't.
Well, I'm talking strictly in the running game.
Oh, well, in the running game, but
I'm talking strictly running game. Because
like look at Tampa Bay, look at the macro that first quarter. Dallas Goedert drops a surefire first down.
Correct.
And then Jalen has the bad throw where he missed Saquon for deep that probably would have scored.
Correct.
I don't know if the ball came out weird or something, but I've seen Jalen Hurts make that throw before. Right. So I don't know why he missed it. I don't know if he saw him late or whatever, but he had him. Saquon had him beat. So you're talking about 1 drop pass and 1 missed opportunity. So would it have made any difference the way they were blitzing us? I don't know. But we got to start, to your point about, running early so you can have second and short or second and mid. Because
Yeah,
if you got second and mid, a quick slant might have you third and short.
exactly.
Or the way A.J. Brown has been in the past, his track record, he breaks tackles. So that second and mid might turn into a first down or third and inches or third and less than 1 or something like that. Then you push it, brotherly shove, rinse and repeat.
And on top of that, the running game is going to lessen the turnovers. It's a natural progression. He's going to lessen the turnovers because it makes you less predictable. It's going to create wider passing lanes because teams are going to try to sell out to stop the run. Well, when you're facing the Eagles, you won't be able to do that. You got AJ Brown and Devontae out there, so you got to pick your poison. So it makes Devontae and AJ and Dallas Goedert that much more dangerous. It helps your defense, right? It helps a defense that's still trying to find itself, right? It doesn't help when you can't sustain drives and your defense barely knows who they are and what they're capable of. And then when they do play well, when they do give you a drive, the defense that is, you got to pay them back with points on the board. You got to pay them back with at least sustaining the drive so they can get some rest. Because this defense right now is showing that they're going to be on the field for about 10 to 12 plays, and they have the potential of holding you to 3 points.
Yeah.
If they hold a team to 3 points, or if they do get a stop, or if they do force a turnover, offense, you have a responsibility to pay them back and put points on the board. You guys are the most talented. You guys have the most continuity on that side of the ball. You guys are getting most of the money. You guys had to carry us until we can figure this thing out. This is how the Philadelphia Eagles have been built, and they haven't been playing like they've been built.
Right, and now the pressure is on the offense. Now we have to score points. Not like we didn't have to do that before, but now with the defense rolling the dice, you starting Cooper DeJean, right? So you got a rookie back there. Any coach worth their salt is going to attack that rookie. So I'm looking for Cooper DeJean to get a lot of work. He's going to learn some things this week.
Absolutely.
So can he hold his own? Can he have an impact like Reed Blankenship did? Because they went at Reed and Reed, we've said this before. Reed is not the fastest guy on the field, but Reed is a very smart player, and he can make up for that. Because now Cooper DeJean got all the talent in the world. Joker can jump a mile high. He's quick, and he's a good cover DB. He can do that job. Can he step up and show it right off the bat? So now teams are going to attack him. So now the pressure is on the offense because now you do have to control the clock, because eventually somebody's going to get over on him. Somebody's going to get him. If they get in C.J. Gardner-Johnson, if they get in Slay and everybody else on our defense, they're going to get the rookie too. Quinyon Mitchell was catching it as good as he's playing. It's just bound to happen.
Yeah, it's the nature of the game. I mean, you're going to get when you play DB, you're going to get got, right? You gotta have a short-term memory. But to your point, the pressure is on that offense. You gotta play clock control. You gotta control the clock. You gotta have sustained drives. If this is and again, you're talented enough to put a lot of points up playing this way. Not many teams that have to play this way can actually put the points up or are talented enough to do more than that. You have the talent to do much more than play a game of controlling the clock. But you're so talented where you can really be dominant in that. You can be a physical force with Saquon Barkley in that offensive line, and you'll be more efficient until you're able to open things up a little bit more. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
My main concern right now, obviously the defense has to figure its things out, but my main concern with this team going forward, the turnovers, the Jalen Hurts turnovers have to be neutralized. They have to be. That had to be one of the at the forefront of the conversations, in my humble opinion. If I'm Kellen Moore, if I'm the person crafting this offense, I have to be saying to myself, okay, what can I do to help this man? Regardless of how you feel about Jalen Hurts, Eagles fans, regardless if you're a fan of him or not, he's the guy here. So we have to, and if we want the Philadelphia Eagles to win, we have to look at it from the perspective of, okay, what do they need to do so this brother can be more efficient with the football? What can they do? I think you win this game by leaning on your running game early.
Leaning on your running game, And I know it became cliche for a minute, but you make your passing game an extension of your running game.
Absolutely.
Tampa Bay gave a perfect example of how to do that by getting rid of the ball in under 2 seconds on almost every pass play. So that's an extension. When you're doing a screen pass to your X or Y receiver to the right, that's basically like a run play. You getting them the ball quick and you making something happen. So you're not looking for him to take the top off and go 60 yards. You're looking for him to get 5. Hopefully he can break a tackle and maybe he'll get 10 in the first down. But that's a run play. So like we were saying before, now you got second and third and mid to short easier to work with. You can run the same play over again because all you got to do is get 4 yards and you got a first down. You have a lot more options as opposed to like when you watch the tape and we still running pass patterns and everybody's running a 10-yard pattern. And Jalen Hurts is sitting there because we complain because I remember what I said, man, you're leaving the pocket a second too early. Just stay there a second longer so you can see the whole field. And then what happens? We let the pressure get in and they cause and fumble because I know we want to blame it on Jalen because you got to hold on to the ball. And he does. But at the end of the day, if ain't nobody in there, he doesn't have that pressure. He's trying to run out like he always does. Guy came in, made a great play, strip sack. But if he would have taken off like he used to take off, wouldn't have had that problem. So now we got to pick our poison. So you can't criticize him for leaving the pocket too early and then criticize him for staying in the pocket because bad things happen when you stay in the pocket too long. But some of them sacks ain't nobody open because we ain't got nobody coming across the middle. We don't have no short routes. And that's the thing I don't understand. And sometimes he is not seeing another half of the field. Sometimes he is, but if everybody's downfield, I want to see Saquon Barkley come across the middle every time it's a pass pattern. You either going to get a mismatch. He's either the check down. Either way, you got him matched on a linebacker, man-to-man, or in zone. I will take that matchup every day of the week.
Yeah, I agree. You're getting A.J. Brown back. You're getting Devontae Smith back. This is the time where the rhythm, the flow, like you said, Saquon, get him in situations where he can take advantage of a mismatch, right? And I mentioned how the Browns, they're dealing with their own fair share of injuries. I mean, as of right now, Myles Garrett is questionable. They got a safety, Ronnie Hickman is questionable. Denzel Ward, their corner, is questionable. I mean, their tight end, David Njoku, is questionable. Nick Chubb, he's fresh off the pup list. He could be activated for this game. The 21-day practice window has been activated for him. And then on the Eagles side, their 21-day practice window has been activated for Sidney Brown and Anaya Smith. And 9 times out of 10, they'll likely be elevated to the roster in whatever capacity we see those gentlemen. Likely we'll probably see Sidney Brown in special team situations at most for right now. Anaya Smith, hopefully we may not see him. Only way we see him is if A.J. Brown and Devontae, God forbid, something happens. But then Johnny Wilson, full participant. Everybody's pretty healthy for the Eagles. Nakobe Dean was a limited participant with the ankle injury. That's something to keep an eye on. Somebody
Foot injuries again. Here we go.
Yeah,
again.
so that's something to keep an eye on. It's interesting. It makes me think about the Devin White situation. That situation has gotten so messy, and the Eagles obviously just decided to wash their hands of it. But it's a clear miss by Howie Roseman. We didn't even see the brother play. We didn't see the brother take a single snap. He
didn't even play in a revenge game. They didn't even let him play against Tampa Bay, dog.
Right. And you cut Devin White, that instantly elevates Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to get back up, linebacker role. So does that speak to how highly they think of Trotter Jr.? Do they think Trotter Jr. is on schedule or ahead of schedule or ready to take on that role? Especially seeing Nakobe Dean limited with an ankle injury. That makes me nervous. Again, I'm keeping an eye on that. Could we see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. much sooner than later?
Yes, I'm betting on sooner. Because you look at our defense. So we got Nakobe Dean, and I always preface this by saying I'm not bashing Dean because y'all know Nakobe is my dude. But Nakobe, Avonte Maddox, and CJ Gardner-Johnson. The last 3 seasons, Nakobe the last 2. But the last 3 with Nakobe, because Nakobe was hurt 2 years ago too. Everybody's been hurt. Maddox was out 2 years ago and last year. Mm-hmm. CJ Gardner-Johnson was out 2 years ago. Last year in Detroit, he missed 8 games or whatever it was.
Last year he missed there in the whole season.
Yeah, so those 3 guys have never played through a whole season without any injuries. They haven't had clean seasons yet. So that is definitely something to worry about. So we got to have that depth. So I'm looking at Jeremiah Trotter. It might be destined for him to fill them shoes like his daddy. So let's see if you got it. Because you rolling the dice on Cooper DeJean, they might be rolling the dice on Trot Jr. as well. Because we're in a situation now. I'm like, hey, we done drafted him. We done spent the money. Let him play. We got to find out sooner or later.
Right.
So now's the time to do it. The schedule is not crazy difficult. If you want them to get some clock and some snaps in, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, they actually have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. So if this Philadelphia Eagles team can't figure it out and get their shit together, basically, we're gonna have it's gonna be an eventful remainder of the season. It'll be an eventful off season. Man, oh man, the Boo Birds will be in full effect. But we briefly spoke on Cooper DeJean coming in and Avonte Maddox getting benched, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Quinyon Mitchell out there, a rookie. Cooper DeJean out there, who's a rookie. Nolan Smith is going to have a lot of snaps. He's only 1 year deep into his career. Jalen Carter, 1 year deep into his career. Jordan Davis, 2 years deep into his career. Reed Blankenship, I believe, is about 2 years deep into his career, maybe 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken.
This is third year.
His third year, yes, this is his third year. So that defense is very, very, very young. Mm-hmm. And Vic Fangio is tasked to making sure all these guys are ready to go.
Yeah.
Speak on the challenge Vic Fangio faces dealing with those young guys. And also, with those young guys I mentioned, again, in particular, Cooper and Quinyon, do they give you any sort of confidence in terms of how they approach the game and what you've seen from them thus far?
Quinyon does, because he's fearless. He's talking that talk regardless of who he's going against. It seems to me that Quinyon understands somebody is going to get the best of him. And that's part of the game. And he's okay with that. And you get better from it. He is not as good as, but he reminds me of how Sauce was when his first year. Supremely confident. You already know somebody going to get you because everybody good in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So when you understand that and you get comfortable with your game, you get more familiar with what you can and can't do. And that puts you in a better situation on the field. Know your personnel, know your opponent. I look at somebody like Steve Smith. Steve Smith wasn't the tallest guy in the world, but he was super quick and he had that dog mentality. So if you guard him, you got to guard him differently as opposed he's 5'10". You don't guard him like you guard somebody that's 6'4". Mm-hmm. So you got to change your strategy up a little bit as a defender. And I think Quinyon understands that. Cooper, we just haven't seen enough snaps on him, but you don't get drafted where he got drafted and not have any talent. So it's up for him to show and prove. I like Cooper DeJean because when you look at him and what he did at Iowa, not too much of a talker, just gets out there and handles his business. He knows what his talent level is. He knows what he can do. So just get out there and use your God-given ability and try not to make any dumb mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but don't make dumb mistakes. And then over time, the more snaps you get, the more comfortable you get. And the one thing I always say, you get to the point where you're not thinking anymore. You know what you're supposed to do. And then once you stop thinking, everything slows down for you and you can play like you know how to play. And that's what we got to get with these young boys. They just got to get snaps.
Yeah. And I look at Cooper DeJean and I say to myself, I like him better in that position more than I like Avonte Maddox. Here's why.
Absolutely.
Obviously Avonte has experience on his side, but that experience is starting to lose its luster when you're constantly getting beat, when you're showing poor tackling technique, when you're busy talking to the opponent about Fortnite when you're getting your ass kicked. Like, I mean, the shine can wear off of a guy really quickly if that's what we're seeing, and you can't stay healthy. So when you put all that into the pot, and you throw in how Maddox is a mismatch nightmare for the Eagles because tight ends can take advantage of him. Bigger body slot guys can take advantage of him, right? When you put Cooper in there, he has that rare combination of size, physicality, and athleticism.
Yeah.
And you couple that with the young legs, right? He doesn't have the bad habits that Maddox probably built up over the past couple seasons or whatever it may be. I think I think we're going to see an improved slot, but it's not going to come, like you said, it's not going to come without its fair share of growing pains. But I think we're going to see an overall improved performance in that area of the football field, a more physical presence, probably better tackling as well. A guy that understands how to fit the run gaps a lot better. And then let's be frank about this too, Marcus. A shakeup needed to happen on that defense. You can't watch those first 4 weeks if you're Vic Fangio and say to yourself, okay, I'm going to put out the same product and just hope something changes this week. No. And I appreciate him for making the tough decisions, for saying, you know what, I got to go with the rook. I got to go with the person that I preferred out there, but he just couldn't. He was hurt. He was recovering or still learning the defense rather. I respect Vic Fangio being a man of his word in terms of, listen, if you're playing well, you're going out there. Sometimes you ain't got no choice. You got to put a guy out there, and you really don't want him out there. Sometimes it's the way it works, right?
Absolutely. And
Bryce Huff. Like, I mean, they really ain't got no choice. They ain't got no choice right now.
They ain't got no choice, man. He got to put up or shut up.
They ain't got no choice. A lot of people keep saying bench Huff. I mean, it's not that simple. You know what I mean?
You got paid the money. You got to use it.
You paid the money, and
he's got to figure it out. That's what he's getting paid to do.
He's got to figure it out. So again, I really appreciate Fangio for really shaking it up, and it sends a message too. It sends a message that, hey, listen, these first 4 weeks, clearly, and they've been cutting it. Hey, listen, you down? Hey, you up? Hey, you up? Hey, move out the way. I respect that. I appreciate that.
Go back and look at Bryce Huff against the Eagles last year when they beat us, when the Jets beat us. That does not look like the same player at all. And I'm talking about technique, what he's doing with his hands, just how he's coming off the ball. He looks totally different.
Well, they said
we need that guy back.
Baldy said, I was watching his breakdown. He was comparing the film.
Yeah.
He was saying, he's more of a 4-point stance kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Both hands in the dirt. He could just take off. He said with the Eagles, they've had him in this 2-point stance. He's kind of just no hands in the dirt, just upright, and he hasn't really been able to get that same get off, that same push. Right. So maybe, hopefully, Fangio went back to the drawing board and said, "Listen, I've been getting this guy in position all wrong. If he's the only guy." If he's the only guy in the 4-point stance, let it be. As long as he gets to the quarterback, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You got to find, and somebody, who was that? Coach Corey B. Hiken, where he said Fangio's outdated ass scheme, playing 15 yards off the ball. Absolutely, the pressure's on Fangio too, because what he's doing isn't working. So it's up to him. That's great. He's making the moves, but you got to adjust your scheme a little bit. Mm-hmm. We can't have you being so locked into what you're trying to do where you can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
So he's got to be able to lock it in and make the necessary adjustments to get the most out of the players that he has. And to Baldy's point, if we look at the tape and Bryce Huff is the best coming off out of a 4-point stance, then damn it, put him in the 4-point stance. Why you putting a round peg in a square hole? It doesn't make sense. Let him do what he does best. And then once you see what you really have, because clearly he's been frustrated, clearly he knows he has talent. So it's up to Fangio, because that's what he's getting paid for.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to bring out the best in him. Because too many times the Eagles organization have had guys come in here that played well, but just well. That's as far as they went.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go somewhere else and then they just explode. And it's like, or they come in here. Best example I can say is TJ Edwards. You come in here, you weren't expecting much, and he goes above and beyond, and then you let him walk away. And it's like, what do you want? You got the situation where you got the talent. Obviously, you signed him for a reason. No, you didn't think he was going to be Hassan Reddick, but you at least saw something there.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that something is, hasn't gone anywhere. We just haven't figured out how to bring it out yet. So he should be better going up against Mailata and Lane Johnson every day. He should be much better.
You would think that.
Exactly.
Think that.
So again, to Baldy's point, if coming out in the 4-point is the way to go, then let's be about that. So I want to see what Vic Fangio is going to do. Are we going to still be dropping everybody back in zone and they hit us with the quick passes again? Because if that happens again, now I'm looking at Vic Fangio like, dude, you stuck in your ways. You were old fogey stogie. You wanted them to get off my grass, dudes, and you don't want to change up. And that's not a good place to be. So maybe your time is coming to an end if you can't see that.
Yeah, to your point, as far as changing up and making adjustments, right? I mean, week 3, we saw him make a major adjustment going from a 4-man front to a 5-man front. So he's shown signs of, okay, because sometimes you got to get a large enough sample size to say, you know what, okay, this isn't working.
Exactly.
He saw 2 games worth in the run defense to say, you know what, 4-man front not working. He saw enough of that to do it in the Saints game. And I guess in that Buccaneers game, because we didn't see too many 5-man fronts in that Bucs game, if at all. I guess his mindset was they're not going to come out and run right away, and they really did it. They came out and passed right on you.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually bet on your pass rush not to get home. They say, you know what, we ain't even going to attack your run defense. We know your pass rush not going to be able to get home, and they bet on that, and they took advantage of that. So, 4 game sample size. You got 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to iron out some of the wrinkles and look at what you've done as a defensive coordinator. You have to be able to say to yourself, okay, this isn't working with these guys. What can I do differently to get these guys in positions to make plays? Simple as that. Yeah. So I think Fangio, the job seems straightforward, but it ain't, because you got to work with the personnel you have. And if
our defense is bipolar, man,
they're immature. It's an immature defense.
You look at the games that we've had, and even the Atlanta game, where we kept them out of the end zone when they got down there, in the red zone, in the goal line, 1st and goal, 2nd and goal. They got down there twice and we kept them out. So they have flashes, and then you have what happened in Tampa Bay, but then the week before we got they put it on the Saints.
Yeah, the red zone defense was consistent from week 1 to week 3. Then week 4, everything just nothing worked on defense in week 4. That's the scary part about this team, this defense in particular. You can't perform the way you did against the Saints and then do what you did against the Buccaneers. What is that? That's that something like that just can't happen. You can't be so sharp and be so dull the following week. That speaks more so to mentality rather than physicality.
I didn't understand, because that Tampa Bay game, everything was quick. Then all of a sudden we can't tackle anymore. So those quick, short passes, they turned into splash plays because we can't get anybody down. Kind of going back to Avonte Maddox again. Avonte Maddox comes up, and the best and the worst thing about Avonte Maddox is he's aggressive. He'll come up and knock your head off, and then he'll lower his head and miss you completely. So, but I'm gonna put that on Nick Sirianni, because I remember seeing Marcus Epps do the same thing 2 years ago when we played San Francisco, and he came out, lowered his head, and McCaffrey bounced right off of him and went 20 yards for a touchdown. So we've been doing that for the last 3 seasons. And Sirianni ain't figured out a way to I saw them doing the tackling drills and stuff this week. And it's like, man, you should have been doing that. You should have been doing it. But that goes into
what were they doing this week? I missed it. What were they doing this week? I missed
it. They were doing more like hands-on tackling drills. They wasn't rolling out that donut no more. Because I saw a couple people, they hit up Seth Joyner and was like doing some of the stuff that Seth has suggested. And it was like, it's about damn time. Like you got to do something, man, because it is embarrassing. We tackle like a freshman team. It's a shame.
Yeah. And speaking of Nick Sirianni, right? I'm still of this belief that this team is closer. He's close. I'm still of the belief that he's closer to losing his team than keeping his team. For one,
I would agree with that.
For two, everything that he's been prouding himself on hasn't been connecting, hasn't been landing. Right? The attention to detail, protecting the football, explosive plays, yada yada. All the stuff that he talked about is not landing, which tells me your message isn't getting through, which tells me the players have checked out. I want to pick your brain because, again, 4 weeks in, a lot can change. Got 13 games left, right? I want to pick your brain about the Robert Saleh situation because we briefly touched on it earlier in the show, very briefly, and they fired that man at 2-3. Now, let's be honest. He hasn't had he didn't have a quarterback his entire time there. And you finally give him one for 5 games. And, they're 2-3. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. So many variables go into that. He's a defensive guy. Their problem is that the offense hasn't been putting up points for the most part.
Correct.
So okay, all right. You still want to put that on him. Fair enough. But now I ask myself, has the precedent been set? We talked about Nick Sirianni the Eagles potentially losing to the Browns and the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Robert Saleh firing is almost like the first domino to fall and Nick Sirianni has a chance to change the narrative? But again, the Robert Saleh situation is that a precursor? Is something in the air, Marcus? Because real quick, just a quick reminder. Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell are the only 2 coaches left from their hiring class.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith is gone. Brandon Staley's gone. Robert Saleh is gone. Dan Campbell and Nick Sirianni are the only guys left.
We've had 3 coaches in the last season and a half. We had 2 last year and Saleh this year. 3 coaches that have been fired because their quarterback was trash. Ken Dorsey gets fired from Buffalo because Josh Allen has a 3-interception game. And here Matt Canada gets fired from Pittsburgh because Kenny Pickett was trash. And of course, then we get him. And then Robert Saleh gets fired in New York because Aaron Rodgers is trash. Now, what do those 3 things have in common? They all get fired because their quarterback couldn't play. If Josh Allen doesn't have that game where he threw 3 picks, Ken Dorsey probably still has his job. Or that happened last year. He doesn't get fired. Kenny Pickett, he just wasn't good, but I don't think Matt Canada was the problem with Kenny Pickett.
And real quick, all Joe Brady did was come in and say, we're going to run the ball. That's all he did.
And then you look at in Detroit, Robert Saleh is a defensive coach. Your defense is top 5
whole time
in the league.
Whole time he's been there, been good on defense.
Yes. And because Aaron Rodgers, and let me say this, Aaron Rodgers is a dick for what he's done and how he's been acting.
Did you hear what he said at his press conference today? He had the nerve to say, I feel bad. I know it's our fault that he kind of lost his job or whatever. Come on, man.
Hold on.
He's hilarious, bro.
This right here.
Yeah. It's not that he's a bad coach, and this is nothing personal.
It's nothing personal. I just don't like him personally. Man, if you don't get the hell out of here with that nonsense.
Wait, did he really say that?
Yes. It's nothing personal. I just didn't really like the guy on a personal level. Bro, your math ain't mathing, bro. Okay. That makes absolutely no sense. And that's why I say Aaron Rodgers is a dick, and I hope the Jets don't win another damn game. Because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw 3 picks and they find a way to win that game, Robert Saleh still has his job. They're not coaching you to throw interceptions in practice. Matt Saleh or Robert Saleh was about to either demote or fire Nathaniel Hackett before they walked him out of the door. Robert Saleh was on his way to morning meetings. He was going business as usual. And all of a sudden, the owner had an epiphany and decided to let him go. He didn't know.
I heard they had to call security to get him out the building.
Yes, they had to get him out of the building. Some of the one of the guys on the team said he didn't even know that Robert Saleh got fired. His neighbor texted him. That's how disrespectful it was. You ain't even got the presence of mind or the business sense to walk the man in your office and say, "Hey, we going in a different direction. Thank you for your time." They said, "Screw you. We gonna send your stuff home in a box."
You want to know why? Because Robert Saleh is a man. That's a man you got to talk to.
Facts.
So a lot of these guys, a lot of people don't realize money don't make the man, right? It don't matter how fly your suit is. It don't make the man. And when you're talking to Robert Saleh, when you're talking to guys like Dan Campbell, when you're talking to Mike Tomlin, you feel what I'm saying? You know, when you're talking to Herm Edwards, when you're talking to guy Singletary, the old coach for the Niners back in the day, used to play for the Bears in the 80s.
Yeah, Mike Singletary.
Is Mike Singletary? That's a man you got to talk to.
Yeah,
and some people don't know how to talk to men. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. You know, they much rather send somebody else to send the message, or they'd much rather send a memo downstairs and they ain't got to come out of their ivory towers or whatever it may be. You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, that's okay if you want to do that, man, but there's still a way you got to conduct business.
No, I know. I'm with you on that, 100%.
Yeah,
that's the point.
You expect it from everybody else.
That's the point I'm making is the Jets, they clearly ain't got men in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm not. I look at Aaron Rodgers, man. It's like they done paid you all of this money. You got every excuse in the world, and now everything is, you know, they got to make it good for you, and you ain't showing up. It's a shame what happened to you last year with your Achilles tendon, but shit happens. Happens to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You wasn't sending no roses down the tour when you got his concussion. So it is what it is. That's the game that we play. And you know what? Aaron Rodgers, he getting old. He's not as good as he used to be. Mm-hmm. And it's not working. Because if you can get out there and get mad when they drop your passes and all of that kind of stuff, then I can get mad at you for some of that nonsense you was putting out on the field too.
Mm.
So, you know, he lost Robert Saleh his job. Because if they don't lose that game, Robert Saleh's still coaching. Period.
Yeah.
And then he has that like a dismissive attitude like that. Like, nah, man, I don't buy that at all.
Because he 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the attitude of somebody who, hey, listen, man, exactly. I'm just here because I like slinging the rock. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about nothing else. Let me ask you this.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
But back to the original point. The Eagles are in the same situation. If Jalen Hurts does not play well these next 2 weeks, guess what?
Because you can argue if Hurts is playing better, we got a different conversation.
Hey, Nick, why don't you come up to the office, man? Bring your playbook.
Well, in their case, bring your iPad.
Bring your iPad.
bring your tablet.
We are in the same boat. If Jalen Hurts doesn't stabilize what's going on with this offense and this team,
he has
because
to,
even if the defense is still subpar, if we controlling the ball and outscoring everybody, that gives you time. Didn't the same thing happen when we went to the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
We was the bend but don't break, wasn't getting many sacks, all of this and all of that, and we still found the offense found a way to make it work. So we are in the same situation as the New York Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're even being mentioned in the same sentence as them. That's the funny part about it. Let me ask you this though, because there are so many players who've given us how do you say who we've been pleasantly surprised with through these first 4 weeks, right? One guy in particular is Zach Bond. I've been pleasantly surprised with Zach Bond. There are guys who've lived up to our expectations. A guy like Quinyon Mitchell is so far living up to my expectations, and some. And there are some players who have not lived up to expectations. Players who are not playing up to the billing, who are not earning that paycheck. I want to pick your brain about this. Who are some players in your mind, right? It could be a starter, a role player, whoever you've been thinking about. Who in your mind needs to have the biggest jump from the bye week going into week 6, going into this Browns matchup? Who do you need to see the biggest improvement from going forward? You can name as many players as you want, by the way. Anybody that comes to mind.
The first person I think of is Nolan Smith. Because I want to see him live up to that draft pick status. Because he's got the talent. But, is he the defensive version of Anthony Richardson? You know what I mean? Anthony Richardson's got a cannon, right? Guidance system not included. You know what I'm saying? So is that what we looking at with Nolan Smith? He got
that's
all
cold. That's cold.
But
that's
true.
cold, brother. No
true.
guidance system included.
Guidance system's not included, man.
That's an RPG. It's not a heat seeking.
Man. So I want to see Nolan Smith step up. Zach Bond has been better than advertised. We talked about Zach Bond at camp, and I was like, every time I watched him in New Orleans, he made the most of his reps. I didn't think he was going to do this.
Yeah.
I didn't think that. But Zach Bond is a classic person that got lost in the sauce down in New Orleans, and now he got his opportunity, and he's going for his payday. Same thing as TJ Edwards. But did we learn anything with TJ? Are we going to pay the man for the work that he put down on the field? Not his potential, what he's doing on the field. So, but to the original question, I want to see Nolan Smith. Obviously, you want to see Cooper DeJean. And Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts has to make the biggest jump. I need Jalen Hurts to go back to what he looked like in 22. He's not running the ball like he used to, because he's looking. I thought about this the other day. He's doing what 5 did. He's doing what McNabb did. Y'all remember that year? Yeah. At least I do. Donovan McNabb reported to camp, and he was physically bigger. That's when he started that year. He was throwing all them balls in the dirt because he yoked up. But he did it because he said he had to protect himself because he stopped running the ball. And I was like, dude, why are you taking away one of your weapons? Because he wanted to be a drop back quarterback, and he ended up being better for it. And I think that's what Jalen is doing a little bit. He's not looking to run like he used to.
It's clear because when he's running, listen, my mom don't know a lick about football, right? She called me. She said, "Yo, Tony." I'm like, "What's going on?" She said, "Why Jalen just looks slow?"
Yeah.
Why? As a matter of fact, she took it a step further. She said, "Why look like he's running in place?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, if my mom could see that, and she don't know a damn thing about football. She don't know what's fast and what's not.
Right, but you can see it. You go back and look at.
You can see he's clearly. I think he's making a concerted effort to not.
Yes.
Top, he's making a concerted effort to not hit the top of that speedometer.
Right.
It really looks like he's just jogging to just see what's going on down the field. It looks like he's really not trying to take off.
He's not running reckless no more. He could go back and look at 22 and look at how he was running. He had the power. He made some people look stupid. He made some defenders look bad.
Yeah.
What did I say? The guy from the Saints, Granderson.
Oh, yeah.
Granderson had a good day against us. But if you remember, Granderson was the guy, he had that severe cutback.
That was 2021. That was
yes,
crazy.
That was the play, and I said this. That was the play where Jalen Hurts became QB1 in Philadelphia. That play right there.
I agree 100%. I agree.
Right.
Like that, in my opinion, that's a
That was the play. He was like, "Oh, this is the guy."
That's a top 10 Jalen Hurts play.
You heard the stadium go,
"Ooh!" Yes,
exactly.
That was a moment because we were fiending for anything. We were fiending for a spark plug.
Yeah.
Like anybody could have came by on the street and gave us a jump. We was fiending, and that play because it was the it was like a dagger. Like it was like the last when he took off like
their heart.
He took their soul with that.
But he was he was and I don't mean reckless like just throwing his body everywhere.
He was just trying to make plays. He was trying.
How many times did Jalen break like 2 and 3 tackles? Remember that one play where they caught him like on the 7 and he drug him to the end zone?
Minnesota, week 2.
Yeah, he was a physical runner. He's not doing that anymore. And I think what he's doing is he's picking his shots.
He had moments in that Falcons game. He had moments.
He's running to pick up yards. And then he's getting down. He's not running to run somebody over, or he's not looking to score. He is running. He's looking where he is on the field. Then he's getting down. Get back in the huddle. Let's go to the next play.
Well, you know his run style. His run style is power anyway. He's not like a Lamar Jackson where he's not a burner. He's a power runner.
Yes.
So he gets faster as he builds momentum.
Right.
You know he's like his 10-yard split ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
but that 40, you see it, right? Lamar Jackson 10-yard split, that's lightning in the bottle. So it's clear Jalen, you're right. Jalen has neutralized the part of his game so he can make those strides as a quarterback going forward. And you said something about QB5, Donovan McNabb, he ended up being better for it. I mean, his resume speaks for itself in Philadelphia. You know, me personally, I've always had a love-hate relationship when it came to McNabb. Just me personally, I always have. But objectively speaking, he's the most decorated quarterback in our history, right. And you have to acknowledge that, and you got to respect the groundwork he's laid. Jalen Hurts, he's pretty much trying to fill those shoes. We haven't had a consistent quarterback or a franchise guy, because I don't think you would even consider Mike Vick at the time a franchise guy. He was kind of like a placeholder that just gave us a lot of great moments.
Yeah.
But they really the franchise guys were only Hurts, Wentz, and then McNabb, right? And Hurts has the tools, he has the weapons, he has the play caller, right? I'm on the side of the fence of Jalen Hurts has to be the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles going forward. He has to be. And if anything, you can't make the most mistakes. You touch the ball on every play, brother. Like you can't be out there making the most mistakes. That's how your team lose trust in you.
Yeah,
quickly.
And even when comparing him to McNabb, what's the biggest thing that Jalen Hurts is missing?
That cannon. He ain't got that cannon.
Nope.
The defense.
Nope.
The screen game.
Who coached McNabb?
Oh yeah, I mean Andy. Yeah.
But take it a step further.
That's a big deal, though. I ain't gonna minimize that.
Yeah, it is. But take it a step further. How long was McNabb with Andy?
The extent of his time in Philly, the whole time.
Thank you.
Whole time.
That's our biggest issue right now with Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be in a situation where we're going to get an offensive coordinator that's going to last long enough and stay long enough where he gets it. We saw the glimpse of it the second year with Steichen, and now we on this revolving door again. And now you look at Brock Purdy in San Francisco. You look at Patrick Mahomes over in Kansas City. Patrick been doing the same thing Donovan did, except he won it in the big game. But the one thing is he got consistency on that scheme, that offensive coordinator. That, to me, that's all the difference in the world, because we've seen Jalen at his best. We've seen Jalen go over the top and beat you over the top, and then go on the ground and beat you on the ground. We've seen the best of both. So we already know he can, if he did it once, he can do it again. It's all about the coaches that can bring that best out of him. Steichen figured out a way to bring the best out of him. You notice he can't do that with Anthony Richardson. Why is that? Anthony Richardson is bigger, stronger, faster.
That's a great point. It's not
manifesting like that. Jalen has qualities that make up for maybe a lack of arm talent. And to me, arm talent is overrated anyways. How many times are you throwing a 60-yard bomb? Not many. A 60-yard bomb just means you threw the ball 20 yards and the receiver did the rest of the work.
Right.
We've had enough long passes to Devontae and AJ to know we can throw the ball deep. Right. He can get that done. We've seen it before. It's up to our offensive coordinators and Nick Sirianni to get that out of Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts has already said, he said this 2 years ago, I'm used to being coached hard. How come Sirianni can't do that? How come he can't do that?
I think he's too busy trying to stroke the ego of his players. You see him often taking arrows for his guys, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes he need to take the Vic Fangio approach and say, hey, that guy did not play well. Period. Exactly. Right?
Call it like you see it.
Call it how you see it, man. Don't try to be these guys' friends or just trying to be cool, bro. Like just, yeah, man, yeah. But I agree with you. Jalen Hurts is a key player that needs to step up coming out of this bye week. You mentioned Nolan Smith. I would throw in CJ GJ. He's a player that needs to step up as well. He has come up in key spots,
but let's be real.
Big tackles, but he hasn't really been.
He's a safety.
Yes, of course.
He's a safety. The reason why I don't mention CJ Gardner-Johnson is because he's a safety. He's your last line of defense.
You're right.
If he's the one that we need to make plays, we in trouble.
No, I feel you in that. I feel you on that. It's just that 4 weeks straight you give up a touchdown.
Yeah, you're right.
It's something to be said about that. So, I think CJ has been playing decent. I don't think CJ's been bad. I think CJ can be a little tighter in coverage. That's about it when it comes to him. Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat has been a major disappointment in my opinion. He's been regressing since 2022. And for a guy who's looking for a payday, I can't tell. Like where's the motivation? He got pressures in that Saints game, and I think he got a sack in that Buccaneers game too. But
he did.
How much stock am I putting into that? It's a meaningless sack. What's your thoughts on Josh Sweat, man? He's a guy. He confuses me, and I'm a Josh Sweat guy, but he confuses me.
I think Josh Sweat is a product of his environment. I think when you got Fletcher Cox, and when we had the lineup that we had, and everybody's got to pay attention to somebody else, he's the guy that slips through. He's the guy that's eating because he's at the table. I'm not hating on him for that.
Interesting.
He's the guy that's eating because he's at the table. But we all know Fletcher was the one that was cooking. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Remember when we've had many conversations where I always talk about who they going to game plan. If the game plan, AJ got to worry about Devontae. If they get Devontae, now they got to worry about Saquon. Who do you have to game plan? Now, when you look at our defensive line years ago, you got Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham is our best defensive lineman right now in his 15th year. So you got Ojomo, you got Milt Williams, but none of them. Jalen Carter is the only one that's been cooking. And they've shown, okay, they may have figured out how to get a hold of him. He's another one that's having splash games, but at least offensive lines have to take account for where Jalen Carter is. They're not doing that with Jordan Davis yet. They're definitely not doing that with Josh Sweat. They're damn sure not doing that with Bryce Huff. Who else on that defensive line is going to step up and say, I'm the guy you got to pay attention to now?
The crazy thing is, though, this is all a chain reaction, right? If Bryce Huff isn't doing his job, it makes it harder for Jalen Carter because now Jalen Carter got to pick up his slack. 9 times out of 10, he's going to get double teamed. But if Bryce Huff is dominant, if Jalen Carter is dominant, you can't afford a double team either. Like you're going to have to pick your poison, right? So, but when Bryce Huff is constantly being found in the grass picking 4-leaf clovers, then Jalen Carter is going to have to deal with the right tackle and the right guard. You know what I'm saying? Or he may have to deal with the right guard in the center, depending on how the line shifts or whatever it may be.
Watch this. Flip it real quick.
Yeah.
What do we talk about going into that Tampa Bay game? Cam Jurgens. We didn't know if Vita Vea was going to play. If he does play, he's still hurt. Blah blah blah. Vita Vea ate lunch.
He ate.
He ate our lunch.
He took their lunch money.
But that is a prime example of what I mean when I say you have to game plan him. Because Vita Vea is the type of player, even when he don't make a play, he makes a play. So if you're sitting at the table with Vita Vea, somebody else is going to eat. We don't have that on our defense yet. Jalen Carter is trying to get to the kitchen so he can be the chef. He is trying to get there. It is trending that he will be that guy. He is just not there yet. Jordan Davis, we get splashes. Sweat every now and then. Brandon Graham flashes every now and then, but he in his 15th year. We lucky to get what we getting. And his motor is still running. Big shout out to BG. And then you got Milt Williams, Ojomo, and then on the other side of that, you got, I guess, Jalen Hunter's going to play this week, and they got to figure out what they got to do with Bryce Huff.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, going to this game again, Eagles versus Browns this Sunday. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channels. We are live on 2 channels. We're live on Chalk It Up Sports, and we are also live on Pro Fan Talk. Make sure you guys go subscribe and check out both channels. We appreciate y'all. Eagles versus Browns this Sunday. Before we get out of here, let's lock in some advantages, disadvantages, or rather, let's lock in your keys to the game. We'll lock in some score predictions and some bold predictions. So, Coach, what are your keys to the game for the Philadelphia Eagles offensively, and what are the keys to the game defensively for them?
Offensively, Jalen Hurts holding on to the ball and get Saquon involved early. And I'd like to see some more play action. They've been teasing us with play action with Jalen under center, but I haven't seen too much of it. And I'm like, run it from under center, man. Let him do what he got to do, but get Saquon Barkley involved early, because now our offense still has to pick a poison. You already know they're going to be looking at AJ Brown because he's been out so long. He's going to be trying to make a statement, and Cleveland knows that. So I still think it's going to be on Jalen, what he can do. He's got to make a statement game, and he's got to make our offense dominant. Another key is I don't want Nick Sirianni making dumb decisions. If we can get three, and we'll make it up in the next possession. Don't do nothing stupid. On defense, Cooper DeJean has to play solid. I'm not expecting a great game out of him. I just don't want him to suck, and I don't want him to look like a rookie. That's all you can ask for him in this situation. But I think he's ready for the moment. And we got to see what our defensive line is going to do this week. We got to figure. Bryce Huff has got to show me something. He's got to show me something. Again, I'm not looking for him to have a 3-sack day, but you got to give me some pressures. You got to show me some technique. You got to make it look like you belong in the NFL. In the last couple of weeks, it hasn't.
It's a great point. And your score prediction. What do you have for a score prediction? Well, you know what? I take that back. What's your bold? Do you have any bold predictions for the game? Anything that, I mean, you did throw out a 3-sack game for Bryce Huff, but obviously that's not what you're not putting your eggs in that basket.
I'll give a bold prediction.
Give me a bold prediction.
I'm gonna say Cooper DeJean gets a pick in his first start.
Ooh, that is bold, actually. That's bold. I'm gonna see if I can top that. Okay. Jalen Hurts goes the entire game without a turnover.
I like that even better.
That's a shame. That's bold.
But is that a bold prediction, or should that be an expectation?
No, I'm with you on that. That should be an expectation.
That should be an expectation.
Listen, I've been very transparent and consistent on Chalk It Up Sports. I've been telling people, I said, listen, Jalen Hurts will be known as a turnover machine until he strings together 3 or 4 games minimum without a turnover. For me, at least. That's my barometer. Yep. The fact, I think that's a low number still. I think that's, but it's the NFL. I'm trying to be reasonable. Some things happen outside your control, right? Tip passes, but 3 or 4 games in a row, 3 games. Give me 3 games, no turnovers. I'll take that tag off you. I ain't got a problem doing that. But until then, he a turnover machine.
We got he got to straighten it out. You are what you put on tape.
Exactly.
So and guess what? We gotta deal with that young fella down the highway in a couple weeks. Down in Washington.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, actually. That's going to be interesting.
Don't get outplayed by the young fella. Because you embarrassed some veteran.
That's when the conversation
some veteran quarterbacks when he was a rook. You know what I mean? So that kid is he's faster than Jalen, and he's got a better ball than Jalen does at when he was a rookie.
Yeah,
and if you remember we had that conversation back when we still hadn't had our offensive coordinator, and I was like, maybe we need to get Cliff Kingsbury up in here.
Yeah, you did talk about that. You did mention that. He was in here for an interview, wasn't he? Like, something fell through. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something fell through. But
I'm just saying. He got his quarterback. He got the same style of quarterback, and he's paying dividends.
Man. Oh. Yeah, that's gonna be a fascinating matchup. Give me a score prediction for this game before we get out of here.
I'm gonna say 27-14.
27-14 Eagles.
Yes.
I
do not see the Cleveland Browns beating us. I can't.
Be careful.
I'm gonna be throwing shit all over this room.
Be careful. Be careful. But no, I'm pretty much with you. I think this is a game where the Philadelphia Eagles play their cleanest football. I think they had some time through this bye week to really just assess what they've done over the first 4 weeks of the season. Me personally, I liked Jalen Hurts exercising some level of optimism in the head coach and overall where things went over the bye week. I know you're still iffy on that, but I got this Eagles team winning. I like your score a lot, but I'm a tweak it a little bit. I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game 24-13. 24-13.
Yeah. I'm with you because I want more than a
24-13. Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to win by more than 10 points.
Yeah, I think they beat them 24-13. Browns obviously scored a touchdown, but they settled for 2 field goals, making it 13 for them.
Yeah.
And the Eagles obviously, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, or shoot it. Yeah, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out, man. We'll see.
You know what's interesting? I haven't seen anybody talk about this yet.
What?
But people don't realize that Jalen is basically painting himself in a corner.
Explain.
You just came out and said how productive this week was. So now everything is meshing and y'all on the same page with your coach. What happens if it's not? You have nowhere else to go.
That's a good point.
All of the fan equity that you've built up, if you don't play well or something, if something happens and it doesn't look like it's up to snuff, what is it now? What are you going to say in the press conference?
I gotta play better.
Exactly.
I gotta play better.
And that ain't nothing.
That's on me.
Man, that ain't nothing but throwing a match that you
walking through hell
with gasoline draws on, bro. Because Philly is gonna light you up.
He needs a game, bro. He needs a game. Jalen, bro. I don't even care if Jalen give you a game where he go 17 for 22, 200 pass yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Like, he needs a game where he's efficient and clean.
Yeah.
And the dominance is going to, because you got AJ Brown, Devontae, and Dallas Goedert and Saquon, they're going to make whatever you do dominant. But he just needs a clean game. Just
Martell,
give me a clean one.
Martell, I see your question. And the point is, there's not much he can say. That's the point.
Right. That's the point.
Jalen Hurts is not known for his enthusiastic press conferences.
He seemed lighter in this week, though. He lighter.
Does. The problem with Jalen, it's not a problem. He is what he is.
Right.
Because we talked about this last year. The same Jalen Hurts, everybody was complaining because he's dry and stoic and all them other adjectives they want to use. That's the same Jalen Hurts that took us to the Super Bowl. His same dry, stoic self. So it's not anything different. But what I'm saying is when you're winning, it's a nitpick. When you're losing, it's a complaint. So when you're losing the game, don't nobody want to hear the same stuff you've been hearing at the press conferences over and over and over and over again. We know you got to play better. You know you got to look at things better. You know you got to get back to work. Now you got to be able to say something different. And my point was with the press conference he had and the meeting of the minds that him and Nick Sirianni supposedly had. Me and Tone was talking about this earlier. My problem with that is if you telling me everything was good and that was the best work week that y'all have had together, that means there were some times in the near past where it wasn't. So clearly there was some issues going on. And I'm one of the ones that thought that the whole Sirianni and Jalen not getting along was way overblown. Maybe I was wrong and maybe it was. So what I'm saying is after this press conferences and everything is good and you had the most productive week of work, if it doesn't show up on the field, what else is he going to say? Because Philly is going to be tired of hearing it.
And straight like that, y'all. We appreciate y'all for locking in on the show the way you guys have been for the past handful of weeks. It's been pretty dope, man. We appreciate y'all so much. Make sure y'all continue to stay engaged, continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our channels, especially if you're new, right? New people, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We even appreciate the people who can't really catch us live. Maybe you got to watch us after the fact. You got to catch us on your own time. We appreciate y'all too, right? We appreciate y'all just doubling back and keeping us a part of your rotation. We know you got a lot of options out there, and you still keep locking in with us, man, each and every week to give you a pregame show to set you guys up properly for your Eagles matchup. And this week they got the Browns at home in Lincoln Financial Field. This is a big matchup for your Philadelphia Eagles, who are 2-2, facing the 1-4 Cleveland Browns, a Cleveland Browns team that is vulnerable, but they are looking to right the ship as well. You know, just as much as we look at this as a get-right game for the Eagles, the Cleveland Browns are likely looking at this game as a get-right game for them as well. Absolutely. Just as, you know, the Browns are vulnerable, but so are the Eagles. You know, a lot can happen between those white lines in 60 minutes. So we'll see how this thing pans out overall. I think the Philadelphia Eagles win the football game 24-13. Marcus, you got them winning 27-14. 27-14. Okay, so that's score prediction. All you guys, make sure you put your score prediction below. Make sure you guys lock in on Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to him. Hit the like button. On top of that, make sure you guys go lock in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. The content is available on YouTube. We're also available on Spotify and also available on Apple Podcasts. The shows always get uploaded within the hour after the live stream ends. So make sure you guys go lock in on that. And that's pretty much it. We appreciate y'all. Got mad love for y'all. And it's straight like that. Fly Eagles fly. And let's go get this dub, y'all.
Go Birds.